My parents warned me not to look out the window at night. I just discovered the horrifying reason why. Ever since I was a baby, my parents always told me, don't look out the window at night. I always asked them why, but they would just shrug it off with a creepy smile. As I grew older, I stopped questioning it, but I just never could have guessed the horrifying secrets my parents were hiding. Everyone in my town also followed this weird tradition, so I thought it was normal. That was until I went to college and noticed that none of the other kids were like this. So during Christmas, when I went to my parents' house, I remember them telling me not to look out the window. I gave them a smile and a small chuckle before telling them I wouldn't. However, curiosity struck me the moment they left the room. As I lay in the dark, I came to a decision. I was going to look out of the window. Just as my hand came to the sheer white curtain of the guest room, I paused. My mind flashed to that one time when I was 12. My parents were talking in the kitchen. I was home with the flu and was about to make my way to the sink for some water, but I stopped at the doorway. I hid behind the wall, peeking my head out from the doorway just an inch. My mother was crying and my father was holding her and rocking. That poor little girl. I feel horrible for her family, whispered my mother. My father just nodded and continued holding her. I went back to my room after that. Several hours later, my dad came up to my room with several pieces of wood and boarded up my windows. "What are you doing that for, Dad?" I asked him. "Oh, it's nothing. Just safety reasons," he replied. I learned at school the next day that a little girl was found dead the previous morning, the window broken and curtains torn. I snapped back to the present. My hand drew back from the curtain. I shook my head, cursing myself for being so weird. What was the worst that could happen? It was just a window, it couldn't hurt me, right? As I reached my hand out again, my instinct was telling me to stop. My gut twisted as I reached nearer and nearer. Just as I touched the curtain, a painful howl came from the forest surrounding the house. I flinched back, deciding to just lay down and try to get some sleep. I forgot how hard it was to get sleep in my hometown. Every night, coyotes howled for hours everywhere in town, or at least I thought they were just coyotes. The next night, I woke up in a cold sweat. I glanced over at the alarm clock next to my bed. It was midnight. I groaned and sat up in bed. A low growling sound from outside of my bedroom window. I thought back to last night and decided that I had made up my mind about looking out. I thrusted my arm towards the curtain and pulled back hard, almost ripping it away from the rod. I flattened myself against the wall next to the bed for a moment before I put one eye in front of the window. I immediately regretted